Let's imagine that we have a robot. And this robot is specifically used for baking. It helps us bake cakes and pies, cookies. Okay, so let's focus on one particular algorithm that might be somewhere inside this robot in regards to baking a specific kind of cake. Let's say for this birthday cake, it has a specific recipe. It knows how much butter to put in this cake. Let's say it knows that it needs 3 tablespoons of butter for this cake. Now, when this robot came out, it was a little too expensive for people just to have at home, but who ended up buying it were these bakeries. They wanted to be able to use the recipes they've created, but reach more customers. So they would get one of these robots and they would make a lot of cakes. And so the makers of the robot understood that it would probably be used for this purpose. And so they, in their recipe upload, however this robot gets the recipe, they also have this ability to know how many. Let's say that we want to bake 5 of these cakes here. Okay, so now our robot is going to do 5 of the same thing. So we're introducing this variable c, and c is going to equal the number of cakes. So we know that each cake takes 3 tablespoons of butter. And now we have 5 cakes. And so our c is going to equal 5. So we can replace that with 5. And let's get rid of this. So now simply we have a single variable expression, which is 3c. Now, I think we went over this in the apples and bananas problem, that first video, where we went over variables, in that we may have an instance where you have this number pressed up against a variable. This simply means multiplication. The simple way to think about it is we have 3 of whatever c is. So in our case, c equals cakes. We could also write 3 times c using the dot. Could also write 3 times c using the x. So these are all the same thing. 3c now is how many tablespoons of butter we want to use. So let's go ahead and evaluate that. So 3c is the same thing as 3 times 5. Okay, and we know that that equals 15. So this is how many tablespoons of butter that we're going to use. So we can imagine that our robot has a big old mixing bowl, and he's got a bunch of ingredients in there, and included in that is these 15 tablespoons of butter. Just to help us really get this idea, let's try a different value for c. Let's say that c equals, let's get a bigger number. So say this is a big bakery right in the middle of the city, and they just got a huge order for 15 cakes for something, maybe a huge event that's going to have a lot of dessert, a lot of people there. So 15 of these cakes, let's see if we can figure that one out. So we put in 15 into our algorithm. Our expression now equals 3 times c now equals 15. 3 times 15, well, let's see. 2 times 15 is 30, and another 15 on top of that is going to be 45. So our answer now is 45. So that is how many tablespoons of butter are going to go into our giant mixing bowl. Thank you to our robot. We appreciate all your baking help.